Okay. What is the latest version of Spring Boot you have worked on?
Spring Boot.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I have worked on Spring Boot 3 version.
Okay. Okay, so can you tell me what is the difference you found between Spring Boot 2 and Spring Boot 3?
Spring Boot 2 and 3. We moved to Spring Boot 3 because we had a requirement for Java 17. So I think in Spring Boot 3 we can work with Java 17 or later versions, but Spring Boot 2 does not support the higher versions after Java 17. That is one thing. And some improvements related to security, Spring security also has been done. In Actuator also some improvements has been done. These are the few changes has been done.
Okay, how exception handling happens in Spring Boot?
For exception handling, we use uh, at the rate of controller advice on top of the class, and inside that class we use at the rate of exception handler for the global exception handling. In case of RESTful APIs, like we instead of controller advice, we can use at the rate of REST controller advice. It combines the controller advice and at the rate of response body. So yeah, that is how we are handling in Spring Boot.
Okay, so how do you test the Spring Boot application?
Uh, I use JUnit or Makito for testing it. So basically, initially we do the unit testing first, and after that, once unit testing is done, then we do the integration testing by integrating multiple applications together. After that, we do end-to-end testing of all the applications together, and then there are some different type of testings are also there, like performance testing is there and security testing is there. So normally testers do that, and we also have the configuration setup in CI/CD pipeline. So in Jenkins, we run all the tests automatically. So each time any user commits or any merge happens, so automatic test runs. Yeah, so these are the ways how we are doing in Spring Boot.
Okay, how we use caching in Spring Boot application?
Okay. Um, so to use caching in Spring Boot, first of all, we have to add dependency. Suppose we have a Maven project, so we can add that corresponding dependency. We have to enable it at the top of the Spring Boot application. So there we can say at the rate of enable caching, and then we have to see like which caching provider we have to use, maybe cache or Redis. So whatever we want, the corresponding uh, XML file we can add, and then in application.yaml or properties file we can add that, and its configuration, whatever the class path of that cache XML is there, that we can add there. And then at the method levels, we have few annotations like at the rate of cache evict to remove all the outdated data. Then we have at the rate of cache put to update the cache with the new data, and then we have at the rate of cacheable to store the results of the method in the cache. Yeah, that is how we can do this caching in Spring Boot.
Okay, have you worked on asynchronous way of communication between microservices?
Yeah, yes, I have worked on it.
Okay, so what is the difference between active MQ and Kafka? In which scenario you go for active MQ, in which scenario you go for Kafka?
Kafka, we go for the scenarios in which we need a high performance and high throughput. For example, suppose we have something like Swiggy, right? As soon as the delivery guy is moving from his place, then the continuous data should be updated to the client's application, and the data stream should be done with very uh, high throughput. So in that case, we use Kafka for those kind of scenarios. And in ActiveMQ, mostly we use for the cases when it needs to support the multiple messaging protocols. So this also has a moderate throughput, but its advantage is that it supports multiple messaging protocols. So like whenever we have the requirement like for the reliable message delivery, so we go for ActiveMQ, and we want continuous data streaming, then we go for Kafka.
Okay, what is API gateway in microservices?
Um, API gateway is like we can say a single entry point for all the client request. Either it is made through like mobile application or web browser or whatever it may be. API gateway manages routing, load balancing, and all that. So as soon as clients make any request, so it goes to API gateway. Now API gateway is the place where it is decided in the service discovery. So the service discovery is the one which decides like which URL has to hit and where the less load is there. And apart from that, API gateway also does like monitoring, logging, and caching. So all these things are performed here.
Okay, do you know what are the challenges of implementing microservices?
Challenges means in microservice, um, first challenge I think is like uh, it is very difficult for kind of a fresher guy or new guy to decide like how we have to break down a any monolithic application. So this can be complex sometimes. It should be loosely coupled, right? That is one. And then we also have to make sure that whatever the data we have along the different microservices, that should not be duplicated, right? It should be unique across the different microservices, because we want to maintain the data integrity. The deployment is also one of the challenge. So basically managing the deployment of multiple microservices can be complex. So CI/CD pipelines need to be robust and automated. And then like logging also can be a bit complex because we have multiple instances of the microservices are running. Aggregating all the logs from the various microservices and again correlating them to troubleshoot might be little bit complex. Doing testing also is kind of a little bit it can be complex while when we are doing end-to-end testing. So yeah, so these are the complexities I see.
Okay, what are Spring profiles?
Yeah, so Spring profiles are used to group and manage like beans and configuration settings to different environment. So suppose we have different configuration for dev and different for production and UAT, right? So suppose dev is running, so we can set the dev profiles and we can run our application. So for that in application.yaml or properties file, uh, we give one property like which profile has to be activated, and that property further we can use inside the configuration class, and using the annotation at the profile we can access that, and further the corresponding configuration will be applied.
Okay, how can we change the default server in Spring Boot?
Yeah, so Tomcat is the default server in Spring Boot, and if we want to use some different server, so what we do that in pom.xml, in case of Maven, we go and exclude this Tomcat, and then we include the whatever the server we want. So let's say we want to include JT, so JT server we can include in our pom.xml, and yeah, that is how we can do it.
Okay, can you explain what is the difference between inheritance and composition?
Yeah, so basically inheritance is uh, tightly coupled and composition is loosely coupled. So basically inheritance is a way of getting the properties of parent class into a child class. So properties and methods both can be inherited. And in composition, so it is kind of a principle where a class contains an instance of another class or a field. So we can create an object using a new keyword, and that object further we can use into this class. So composition is loosely coupled. So it is loosely coupled because we have any class, and it has, let's say, like 5 methods, and in the another class where we want to use the previous class, so we don't have to necessarily use all those 5 methods of the previous class. So we can just say, so class a dot method 1, if we need only method 1. So it is kind of loosely coupled, but in case of inheritance this is not possible. So whatever in the parent class, whatever the methods are there, so all the methods will be by default will be available to the child class if we extend that parent class, right? So we use extends keyword in case of inheritance, and in case of composition we don't have to do such kind of we don't have to use such kind of keyword. We can simply create the new object of the whatever the parent class is there, and we are good to go.
So you would have seen serial version UID, right, in some of the classes. So can you explain in which scenario we use this keyword and why we use it?
Serial version UID. uh, I think we use this in case of serialization. So while serialization and deserialization process, uh, we use this serial version UID. So serial version UID equal to 1L normally we write. So I think we use it for the serial version UID of the serialized object and deserialized class don't match. So some invalid class exception is thrown. So instead of throwing some random exception, so it like throws it this exception, and we can understand that okay, some issue has happened while the deserialization.
Okay, so why 1L? Can't we do 2L? Serial version UID equal to 2L or something? Will it create any issue?
No, I think we can do we can give any number, but yeah, L is mandatory I think because we always give a long value here. So L is mandatory, but we can give any number. But yeah, while serialization and deserialization, both of the processes, this same number should be there.
Okay, any other advantage of using this serial version UID?
Uh, any other advantage? No, sorry, I'm not aware of it.
Okay, how the memory management happens in Java?
Yeah, memory management. So basically, in Java, the memory areas can be broadly divided into, I think, five parts. So one is the method area, and then we have heap area, then Java stack area is there, then PC registers, and then native methods. So in case of method area, like all the fully qualified class names and method names, variables, constructor informations, so all that are stored in the method area, right? And then coming to heap area, so in heap area all the local variables and currently running methods, so all that will be added to heap memory. So like arrays also, and whatever instantiating variables, so all that are added to heap memory. And then in Java stack area, so primitive data types of objects and reference variables of the objects, so all that are kept to this Java stack memory. And then in PC registers are also for the threads, so address, so it has the address of the next executing instruction. So yeah, so
Mhm,
these are the memory
mhm.
areas we have in Java.
Okay, okay, okay. Do you know the difference between metaspace and POMGen?
Sorry, metaspace and permgen, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so both are mm, the, I mean, the memory spaces. So like in Java, till Java 1.7, so this concept of permgen was there. So now from 1.8 onwards, we have meta space. So basically, in 1 till 1.7, we used to have some limitations in from the memory point of view, but in from Java 1.8, like in case of meta space, so it basically have the native memory. So like this memory is like limited to the complete operating system, so wherever it is deployed, right? So so I mean it, there are the chances of crashing are, I mean, very less in case of a Java 1.8 onwards. Yeah.
Okay, we cannot give the whole system's memory to Java itself, right? That is not a good practice, right? So if something goes wrong, so complete server will be down, isn't it? So any ways there to prevent this?
Yeah, so we don't give complete OS memory. So like I think we can use some property minus XX and maximum some space size we can set. So some size we can give, like how much memory we want to give. Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what is try with resource?
Yeah, try with resource was introduced in Java 7, I think, and it's the way to automatically close resources like any files or streams. So anything which has been opened in the try block, so that will be closed, and it works with any object that implements auto closable, and when the block finishes, the resource is closed automatically. So even if an exception occurs in that case also. So yeah.
Okay, what is singleton class in Java?
So if we have the scenario like only one object of a class should be created within the project. So in that case, we go for the singleton class. So this class is designed to have only one instance throughout the entire runtime of the application. So no matter how many times we try to create an instance of the singleton class, so we will always get the same single instance.
Okay, so how do you create your own custom singleton class?
Yeah, we can create, there are some set of rules we need to follow. I mean, some set of steps. So, first of all, we have to create the private constructor inside the class so that no other class can instantiate it directly. And then we create the static variable that holds the single instance of the class, and after that we will have one public method. So a public static method provides a way to access the instance. So this method creates the instance if it does not exist, and returns it. So we can write like a public static, and suppose the class name is singleton, so singleton, and then we can say get instance. Suppose the method name we want to get it. If instance equal to null, then only we are going to create the new instance so of the singleton class, and then further we will be returning this instance variable.
Okay, so whatever the method you are explaining me right now, so is this thread safe?
No, this is not thread safe. So basically, we have to use a keyword called synchronized. So whenever we say if object equal to null, to check whether object has not been created. So soon after that, we can use the keyword synchronized, and whatever the class is there, so that dot class we can put in that. So that makes sure that only one thread at a time can come through this line. Okay, and then further after that again we can check if object equal to null, then we are going to create the instance of the class. So yeah, so this is how we can achieve, and this is called basically double check locking. So
Okay, yeah, good. Okay, can you explain what is the difference between synchronized map and concurrent hash map?
yeah, so basically both of them are thread safe, but the difference is, so in case of synchronized map, so the lock is acquired at the object level, and in case of concurrent hash map, so segment level lock will be there, or bucket level lock will be there. So there will not be the lock on the complete object. So that is why so concurrent hash map is faster compared to the synchronized map. And second difference is, so in synchronized map, null key and multiple null values are allowed, but in concurrent hash map, null keys and values are not allowed. So yeah, so this is what is the major difference between these two, and this concurrent hash map is the part of java.util.
We can explain why the main method in Java is public static and void.
Yeah, so uh, public, so public is because the main method, so it needs to be accessible from outside of the class, right? So when we run a Java program, so the JVM needs to access this method to start the application, and it should be accessible from the outside. So that is why it is public. So if it was not public, then JVM will not be able to find it and run it. And then coming to static. So static, as we know, it's the member of the class, and there is no object is required, right? So as of now, we know that we have no object has been created as of now. So the main method is a static, so that it can be called without creating an instance of the class. So when we run a Java program, the JVM does not create an object for the class. It just needs to call the main method directly to start the execution. So yeah, so by making it a static, we ensure that the JVM can call it without expecting the any object. And then coming to void. So since we are running the program and we are not returning anything out of it, so that is why it is void.
Okay, is it possible to override the main method? So whatever this public static void meant is there. So is it possible to override it?
Yeah, technically we can do that, but exactly we don't say it overriding. We say it method hiding instead of overriding. So when we define main method in a subclass, so it will not override the main method of the superclass. It will actually hide it instead of overriding it. So this means that when we run the subclass, the JVM will call the main method of the subclass, not the superclass. Okay. So we can define another main method in a subclass that has the same signature, like public static void main, right? And it's basically not the true overriding, and because the main is a static method. So as I said, it is will be the hiding it, not overriding.